Rayner has made a massive move that has left Britain in complete shock. Downing Street's latest hubby appears to be playing anonymous WhatsApp warrior with their own cabinet ministers. Shocking behavior from politicians, right? Who could have predicted that? But when Rayner starts throwing around words like self-harm regarding number 10 briefing tactics, you know someone is about to get absolutely demolished. Welcome back to UK Watch Arena. I am your host, and today we are diving into the cabinet conflict that has Westminster gossips working overtime. Let me set the scene for you. Here is what is happening. Rayner, Deputy Prime Minister, Red Wall champion, and someone who definitely does not take prisoners, has reached her breaking point with mysterious number 10 sources apparently briefing against female cabinet ministers. When I say reach her breaking point, I mean she has gone completely nuclear. Picture this scenario. You are trying to run the country. Tough job, enormous pressure, probably surviving on meal deals and instant coffee. But instead of focusing on actually governing, someone in Downing Street thinks it is brilliant to start anonymous WhatsApp groups criticizing their own team. It is like organizing your own firing squad. Impressive commitment to self-destruction, truly. Rayner is calling out the targeting of herself, Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson, and Culture Secretary Lisa Nandy. Three women who coincidentally happen to be some of Labour's most prominent figures. Here is where it gets properly explosive. Angela is not having any of it. She has basically said, which one of you cowards is hiding behind a number 10 source? Come on then, show yourselves. Her exact words were that it can be quite frustrating because people will say it is number 10 briefing, but in reality it is like, well, who said that? Then she drops the absolute bombshell. When anonymous sources are doing that, it is a matter of self-harm. Self-harm. She is literally telling number 10 they are politically cutting themselves. That is not just throwing shade. That is launching a full solar eclipse. You know you have messed up when your own Deputy Prime Minister is giving you a lesson in basic political survival. But wait, there is more dysfunction coming. Because apparently briefing against your own cabinet is not enough chaos for one government. We also have the small matter of Starmer having to abandon planned welfare cuts faster than a tourist abandoning a London taxi fare. Why? Because his own MPs basically stage a mutiny. Guess who had to clean up that mess? Rayner, playing political marriage counselor between the Prime Minister and his rebellious backbenchers. She is diplomatically pointing out that maybe, just maybe, the government could try this radical new concept called listening to your own MPs. Revolutionary stuff, really. Who knew that MPs might want to be consulted about policies they will have to defend to angry constituents? If you are finding this Westminster drama as unbelievable as I am, make sure to hit that subscribe button because this level of political chaos deserves your attention. Rayner's assessment was clear. There was not enough work done in terms of listening and responding to what MPs were saying. Translation: you ignored everyone. They got angry. Chaos ensued. And I had to fix it. Here is the cherry on this political disaster cake. The government's defense of their welfare policy is absolutely masterful. They are basically arguing that they are not cutting welfare. They are just flattening the curve of how much welfare brings people into the system. Not cuts. Just aggressive budgetary geometry. That is like saying you are not going bald. You are just redistributing your hair to more efficient locations. Rayner admits they did not articulate that properly, which is diplomatic speak, for we completely botched the messaging and now everyone thinks we are heartless. It is political communication so terrible it makes a broken telephone game look like a TED Talk. What does all this Westminster chaos actually mean? This is not just about hurt feelings and anonymous briefings. This is about a government that is barely 6 months in and already eating itself alive. When your Deputy Prime Minister is publicly calling out your own operation for self-sabotage, that is not a minor hiccup. That is a 5-alarm political fire. Labour won a massive majority promising competent government after years of Conservative chaos. But anonymous briefings against your own cabinet ministers and ignoring your MPs until they rebel? That is not exactly the smooth operation voters signed up for. The real question is whether Starmer will get his house in order or if we are in for more episodes of As Westminster Turns. At this rate, Rayner is going to end up running the country by process of elimination. Everyone else will have briefed themselves out of existence. This situation reveals something deeper about modern British politics. The old Westminster games of anonymous briefings and backroom plotting are colliding with a new generation of politicians who refuse to play by those rules. Rayner represents something different. She is direct, uncompromising, and willing to call out her own side when they mess up. The targeting of female cabinet ministers through anonymous briefings is particularly problematic. It feeds into long-standing patterns of how women in politics face different types of criticism and scrutiny. When Rayner calls this out, she is not just defending herself. She is challenging a system that has operated in the shadows for decades. The welfare cuts debacle shows another problem. In opposition, Labour could promise everything to everyone. In government, they are discovering that their own MPs have red lines they will not cross. The rapid reversal on welfare cuts demonstrates that even with a massive majority, governing requires consensus building and careful consultation. Starmer's leadership style is coming under scrutiny. His tendency toward top-down decision-making worked in opposition when message discipline was crucial. In government, it is creating friction with MPs who expected more involvement in policy development. The communication failures around welfare policy highlight a broader challenge. Labour spent years criticizing Conservative messaging disasters, but they are discovering that clear communication is harder than it looks. When your own Deputy Prime Minister admits you did not articulate policy properly, that is a significant admission. Westminster insiders are watching this drama with fascination. The Labour Party has not been in government for 14 years. Many current MPs have never experienced the pressures and compromises of governing. The learning curve is steep, and mistakes are inevitable. But before we wrap up, remember to subscribe for more UK political analysis because this level of chaos shows no signs of stopping. What happens next could define Starmer's premiership. Does he listen to Rayner's warnings about self-harm and reform Number 10's operations? Does he embrace more collaborative decision-making with his MPs? Or does he double down on centralized control and risk more rebellions? The British public, meanwhile, watches this unfold with a mixture of amusement and frustration. They voted for change and stability after years of Conservative chaos. Instead, they are getting a different flavor of Westminster dysfunction. This story is far from over. In fact, it might just be getting started. What do you think about this Westminster showdown? Is Angela Rayner absolutely right to call out these anonymous briefing wars? Or is this just typical Westminster backstabbing that we should expect? The fact that she used the term self-harm shows just how serious this situation has become. When your own Deputy Prime Minister is publicly telling Number 10 they are politically cutting themselves, that is not normal government business. This could be the moment that defines whether Labour learns to govern effectively or continues down the path of internal destruction. Drop your thoughts in the comments below because I genuinely want to know where you stand on this cabinet crisis. Are we witnessing the birth pains of a new government finding its feet, or are we seeing the early signs of another political implosion? And unlike Number 10, I promise I will not brief against you anonymously in the comments. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell because let me tell you, this level of political chaos shows absolutely no signs of slowing down. If you enjoyed this particular brand of Westminster carnage, check out our previous video on Conservative leadership drama because apparently political self-destruction is truly a bipartisan sport in British politics. Until next time, this has been UK Tribune keeping you updated on the Westminster circus one anonymous briefing at a time.